Hola, friends. It is Susan here with Activate and Elevate. I am in my pajamas because today in South Carolina, we are having a bona fide snow day. It doesn't happen a lot, but I canceled all plans for the day and I am just sitting at home with my cats watching movies and doing some work on the computer. So when I saw it was time to jump on for this live, I figured y'all wouldn't mind getting me in my pajamas. Welcome to my third Saturday Live, where I walk you through the activations in the Be Activated series so you can learn how to do them on yourself. When we do them together and I walk through with you, you can ask me questions or you can do it with me and see if you like what we're doing, and maybe that'll lead you to follow my page and or reach out to me with questions. I've had some great questions from people this week that stemmed from some of the videos that I've posted. So if you've never seen me before and you're new to this, but you are someone that is interested in body work, in nervous system work, somatic healing, all of that jazz, make sure to follow me and scroll back through my videos, because we have already learned the activations for breathing and diaphragm, for your psoas, for your glutes, and for your hamstrings. And those are the four that we're going to do today. So before we start, we need some sort of test, because if you're new here and you go along with me and we don't have a test, you have no way of knowing if this actually does anything in your system or not. So the easiest test that I do, there's two. You can either do just a body weight squat and check in with your body and see how it feels, or you can do a forward fold. I personally like a forward fold. I think it's easier than the body weight squat, but I know where my areas of tightness are and how they show up in a forward fold. So go ahead, pick one of those, either a body weight squat or forward fold, or if you are athletic and you have another movement that you like to do, jumping, running, stretching, yoga, I don't know what it is. If you have a movement that you know when it feels sticky, icky, and gross, and you can tell if your body makes changes, go ahead. I'm going to give you a second to do that. That's going to be our baseline test, and we will go back to that after each activation to see if we've made any changes in your system. Okay, does everybody have a baseline? Awesome. We're going to do one more baseline test, and that is belly breathing. So we're going to walk you through what belly breathing is. I'm going to have you do a couple of belly breaths, and then we will also use that as a test to see if that changes as we do these activations. So to do a good belly breath, you want to breathe in through your nose. You want to breathe all that air down into your bottom belly, so under your belly button. I call it the landing strip. Some people call it the fupa. You want to breathe in, blow up your belly, breathe out through your mouth. What I don't want to see is your shoulders rising. So all of this stays nice and loose. Do one more with me. How did that feel? If you're new to belly breathing, it might have felt off or difficult or just not cool. Notice that, and we'll see if it changes as we do the activations. Okay, let's dive in to the first activation for your breathing and your diaphragm. And for this one, I want you to find your bottom rib. We can do both sides at the same time. So that very bottom rib, and I want you to get underneath it so you're kind of pushing up. And you'll see me, I use all my fingers. Sometimes I'm using my fingers, sometimes I'm using my thumb. I change depending on how tired my hands are. But you just want to work that bottom rib on either side all the way up to the middle where you feel it start to curve inward. So we're going to spend about a minute just on that bottom rib. What you're doing, if you don't know anything about anatomy or the body, the directions are find your bottom rib and wiggle. If you do know about the anatomy in the body, or if you do body work and you're wondering, what the heck are we doing? This is a central nervous system reset. So yes, if you go in and you feel something that is sticky, icky, and gross, you can stay on it, breathe, and see if you can get it to dissolve. But for those of you that aren't really sure what that means, I don't care. Just wiggle. Just wiggle on your rib. Now, as it starts to turn inward, you may find that the tissue gets thicker and it's harder to do because we hold a lot of stuff here. That's your heart chakra. So if you're into that kind of thing, it would make sense that the tissue over your heart chakra might be a little bit stickier. So do both sides. Make sure you're on the inside of the rib. Whew. Awesome. Now we're going to jump up to our breastbone. You want to go down at like the most bottom part of it you can get. And we're going to go all the way up the middle to our throat hole using 2 fingers or your thumb. And you're just going to make circles on that tissue. And you're going to move all the way up your breastbone. People often ask, like, how hard should I go? Because it's a central nervous system stimulus, we want your brain to know that something's going on here. So if you think of a 1 out of 10, with 1 being you're barely touching yourself, to a 10 being you're trying to murder yourself, don't do that. You want to stay at about a 5, 6, or 7. And if you find a spot that feels sticky, icky, and gross, just hold. I call this a holding point. If you're ever out in the world and you get overstimulated and you need to bring your central nervous system down quickly, just stop. Find a holding point on your sternum and breathe. It usually works to bring you back online pretty quickly. I find when I do that and I know I'm overstimulated, I get this like frisson of energy that runs through my body, and that's how I know that my nervous system is like, okay, out with the bad, in with the new. So keep working. You're going to work all the way up. You see, can you see all that tissue moving? Like, that's what we want. We want to know that the things under your fingers are moving around, that there's space for things to move. When you get up to your throat hole, you don't want to poke it because that'll make you gag. But you do want to notice that your throat hole is this nice little U-shaped piece of cartilage and bone, and you just want to work the whole U if you can. Just feel what it feels like. Feel what the tissue feels like and just connect with it. Say hello. At my dance studio, I work with mostly women. Women don't giggle when I call it the throat hole. When I go out into the world and do workshops with men, I don't care how old you are. If I say throat hole, they giggle. Perfect. Okay, I want to do one more spot. So if your throat hole's here, your breastbone's there, I want you to find your collarbone. Your collarbone comes in right there at the throat hole. Breastbone, I want you to go into this little corner. So collarbone's at the top, sternum is down here, and we're going to go right into that, just the corner. We call this the hooky bits. Just get into the hooky bits. On both sides, collarbone comes in, your sternum is right here. You can see because I'm nice and pink. Go into the hooky bits. Ouch. That's a little bit more crunchy over on this side. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. If you've been following along, drop your arms and let's practice that belly breathing. So in through your nose, fill up your belly, out through your mouth. Do that 3 times. How did that feel? If you've been with me this whole time and you did your initial belly breaths, was that different? Notice, you can drop a comment. I'd love to hear. Now we're going to do our movement test. So some of you might have done body weight squats. I did a forward fold. So I'm going to do that and see what my body feels like. You're not in my body, so you don't know what it felt like when I first folded forward. But when I did it that time, everything moved a lot easier. I was able to get deeper into my forward fold. I can still feel a lot of pulling in my calves, but my back is starting to, like I could hear those pings as my spine started to pull apart. Awesome. That's the activation for breathing and diaphragm. Now we're going to move on to the activation for your psoas. So what I want you to do is find your belly button and find your hip bone and draw a line between the two and find the midpoint. So you can do that on both sides. Belly button to hip bone, midpoint. I want you to take these two fingers and I want you to just dig in. If you dig in, if you like push in like you're trying to feel something, you will eventually feel the tissue in your belly sort of pushing back. You'll hit a tissue wall. And that's where we want to be. So when you feel your system, your belly pushing back, then you want to start to make circles. And an easy way to think about it is to do 10 circles in one direction, 10 circles in another direction. Now, if you're in that spot and it's giving you a lot of sensory feedback, I have a friend that doesn't like to use the word pain with his clients, so he uses the terminology sensory rich. So if you're in that area and you're having a sensory rich experience, try just pushing and holding on the spot that is sensory rich and breathe. That discomfort, that pain is usually your body's initial thought of, oh my God, we're under attack, we might die. But if you can just hold the spot and breathe, it allows your system to come down enough to kind of look around and be like, oh, just kidding. I'm in my living room. I'm just touching my belly, not going to die. And it will release some of that discomfort. And then usually everything loosens up a little bit. You're like, oh, okay, it's moving. That's awesome. Okay, hands away. That's the whole psoas activation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to retest our belly breathing. So I want you to breathe in through your nose, fill up your belly under your belly button, breathe out through your mouth. Do it 3 times with me. Did that feel easier, or was there a change? Feel free to comment if there was. I am noticing as my notifications are going through that my beautiful, lovely, wonderful friend Charette is online following this, and she's been sharing this live with people. Charette comes to my classes every week on Sundays. She is a light, a bubbly, funny, laughter-filled ball of energy in those classes, which is so helpful, because when people come and they do this work and their systems become overwhelmed, it is nice when you have a light like Charette's in there shining, because it gives people a beacon to turn to. So I'm glad she's here with us, and I want her to know how much I love her. Okay, so back to the work. We just did our breathing. Now I want you to test that movement pattern, whatever you did. I did a forward fold, so I'm going to test that and see what I feel in my body. I feel like a rag doll, and I tooted. which in any other arena might be embarrassing. But for this arena, this Be Activated arena, I tell my clients all the time, if you fart or burp, we're doing a good thing. Because when the central nervous system is shut down, your gastrointestinal tract also tends to shut down. But when we start to rev things up again and your gastrointestinal tract starts to work again, you might find you burp or fart. So I just farted, so go me, that means things are turning on. Okay, so we've done breathing and diaphragm, we've done psoas, and now we're going to do your glutes. And it is so obvious to everyone following that if we're going to work on our glutes, which is our butt, we're going to work on the back of our head, right? No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And don't make me explain it because it's a lot of science and it's pretty boring. But for the time being, just know to activate your glutes, you have to work the base of your head. So I like to clamp my hands over my skull and then I use my thumb to find that ridge at the base of my skull. First, I sort of feel around and see what the tissue feels like and is it giving me a pain response or a discomfort response? And then I just dig in like you're massaging that area. And it's not that big. It's like 2 inches on either side. So just play around. If you are someone that has migraines or TMJ or stress headaches, this might feel both uncomfortable, but also get you some relief. If you don't want to hold your head down, you can just take those fingers and work. Awesome. Hands away, shake your arms out. That was the first. And work. Awesome. Hands away, shake your arms out. That was the first. First, you have found a locked up part in your body and we can release it. So do that for 3, 2, 1, and come out. Awesome. If you have a desire to open and close your mouth, that's cool. That means things are changing. So it looks weird, but do it. Awesome. Now let's do the other side. So here and here, and we're going to wiggle. This side hurts so bad. But that makes sense because I've been sitting on the sofa and this hip keeps cramping up. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Hands away. Oof. Okay. So that's right behind your ear. If you go down just a little bit, you'll feel the edge of your jawbone. And I want you to just take your fingers and just rub the edge of your jawbone. And we're going to do it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands away. And let's go back to our belly breathing. Give me 3 belly breaths. In through your nose, fill up your belly, and out through your mouth. How does that feel? Did it feel different than the times before? Now let's test your movement pattern, whatever it was that you did. Remember, I did a forward fold, so I'm going to see what my forward fold feels like after doing the glute activations. I still have a lot of tightness in my calves, and unfortunately calves are a little bit down the sequence. but around my glutes, my hips, on top and bottom, like my low back and my hamstrings are starting to just lengthen and relax. So that's lovely. I hope you felt something happening in your body as well. We have one more activation in zone 1, and that is for our hamstrings, because our hamstrings tie into our glutes and they kind of work together. So it's weird to just turn your glutes on and not work to turn on your hamstrings. So the first place we're going to go is you're going to reach around behind you and you're going to find your butt dimples. Most of you know what a butt dimple is. If you're a girl and you've ever been a young teenage girl and been to the pool and seen the boys getting out of the water with their swim trunks riding low, you've seen butt dimples and we're probably like, oh my God, that's so hot and sexy. We're going to find that on you because you have that too and you're just as hot and sexy. So we're going to reach back around and we're going to find it's just a particular spot on either side. If you need to know how to find it, find the top of your butt crack, go up 2 inches and go out 2 inches. This might feel really ouchy on you, so we're just going to go here for about 10 seconds. If you've reached around and you're trying to find them and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't feel ouchy, I don't know what to do, don't worry. As long as you're in the right spot, you're going to get a benefit, I promise. So 3, 2, 1, and our hands are away. Wiggle a little bit. There are 2 activations for your hamstrings, and your butt dimples are the first one. And the second one is we're going to take a fist and we're going to beat ourselves in the butt with our fist. So you're going to find your glutes right here. We want to be right at the top. So if you think about the big muscle of your glutes, right at the top is the back of your pelvis. And we kind of want to hammer the meat of our glutes into our pelvis. So let's do one side at a time. And you're just gonna hit yourself. You can pound with that knuckle there and make it very ouchy if you want to. If that's too much sensory experience, then try hitting with this part of your fist and it won't hurt quite as bad. So we're gonna do that for 20 times. That was 20-ish. Now we'll do 20-ish on the other butt cheek. Oof. That one was particularly locked up. But now my hips feel so loose. Okay, give me 2 belly breaths, please. In through your nose, fill up your belly, out with your mouth. And now we'll check our movement pattern. I did a forward fold, so I'm going to repeat that. Whew. Much more stretch in my hamstrings, and I almost felt like my head was dangling between my feet instead of like a foot away. So a lot more relaxation in my back end or my posterior chain if you are a smarty pants. That's your zone 1 activation. This past week, I have posted videos on exactly what does zone 1 mean. And I went so far as to explain zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and then another category that we call zeros. So if you're intrigued, but you don't know what I'm talking about, give me a follow and scroll back through my videos on my page. And for the last 5 days, you can watch the videos. They're short, less than 2 minutes, but they talk about sort of a pretty meaty subject. This next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the zones and kind of what it means and tie together the physical, so what we just did, touching ourselves and engaging with our nervous system, versus like how does that make us feel physically, but then how does that make us feel sort of emotionally and spiritually. I hate both of those words, but there's no other like I say soul a lot, but I hate that as well because there's connotations that aren't how I mean it. But I just mean your person, who you are. What we just did with zone 1 is we turned you on. So we gave your system a chance to find safety and stability in itself. We gave it the chance to be like, ow, that hurts. I'm going to die. Hold on a second. I'm not going to die. I'm just fine. Release the tension. That's how we teach our nervous system in real time that we are not constantly under threat. And I know the world right now is in a panic, especially like right now, like these last couple of weeks, we are in turmoil for so many reasons. I'm not even going to go into them, but for so many reasons. And when you stack that on top of the crap we already carry in our lives, and you stack that on top of our history and our family relationships and our interpersonal relationships with family and friends and coworkers and loved ones, and our story of our childhood and that time we broke our leg riding our bike, and when all of that starts to stack together, we get in adult bodies that are stressed and overwhelmed and fighting for survival. And for many of us, the only way we can find survival is to completely disconnect. If this doesn't know what this is doing or feeling, then we can close our eyes and go to that magical place and forget that it's all happening. But what you just did with me today, running these activations, those 4 spots, I think it's a total of 6 activations. It took us about 20 minutes. What you just did is started the process of telling your system you don't have to close your eyes and go to that magical place just to survive the day. Another option you have is to find yourself, to ground you in you. Find your own safety, build your own stability. It's right there. When we disconnect, when we go to that magical place, we forget how strong we are. The Be Activated sequence is meant to reconnect and build strength for you in your system. So I appreciate you coming on this journey with me today. Thank you very much. I do be rambling, and I know that. But every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I've been jumping on and running through these activations. Be Activated is one of the few systems out there that gives you the tools to do it on yourself. That doesn't mean that you don't depend on a practitioner. What it means is that you come to me as a practitioner, either in person or virtually, and we work together and we get some stuff sorted out. And then you take the tools and you go into your world and you have what you need to keep yourself at that new baseline of safety and stability. And then when you're ready, you come back to a practitioner and we do it all over again, but we go a little bit deeper. And then you go out in the world because you have the tools to keep yourself at that new baseline. So the more you come back on Saturdays when you have a chance, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the more you do these activations with me, the stronger you are going to be. I promise. And I'm told we're not supposed to promise anything with Be Activated. But I promise that this system is so sneaky that if you just come on Saturdays and do it with me and then give it no other thought, that chances are you're going to feel something change in your life. It's crazy. It's crazy voodoo stuff. Give me a follow. Activate.elevate here on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram. You can go back through my videos because I've taught everything we've done today in depth, giving you the reasoning behind a lot of it. And if you look at me and you're like, man, that girl's in her jammies. I don't believe a word she says. Don't believe me. Go straight to the source. The gentleman who created Be Activated and who teaches it globally is a man named Douglas Heel, Heel. And you can go to his website at www.douglasheal.com. If you go to the website and you see a crazy man with a surfboard, you're at the right place. He's amazing. If you go to his website and you're like, I don't know, man, like he seems like he's real cerebral and he's just talking to people that aren't me. I'm just a normal Joe. I got another website for you. Go to 3000stories.com. 3000stories.com, and you can read countless stories from people around the world that have used Be Activated to make changes. Tons of stories that come at life from so many different perspectives and tell you how Be Activated has helped them change their world, their reality, their view, their person. And you can always reach out to me. Always. I answer every comment. I answer every message. If you think that this might be helpful to you, but you're not certain how, just send me a message and let's start a conversation. That's what I live for. It's what I'm here for. So happy Saturday, everybody. I'm going to go back, stay in my jammies, stay inside because it's like 19 degrees here, and watch the snow fall down. And I'll see you next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Or if you're around on Wednesdays around 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I usually jump on live then and talk a little bit more philosophy of Be Activated. Thanks for joining me today. I love you. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.